Live from Washington, D.C., Jay Sekulow Live. Phone lines are open for your questions right now. And now, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast. Big shift in strategy on the situation with Afghanistan. We're going to give a full analysis on this. It was a significant change in what has been American policy for literally 20 years, and really longer than that. But certainly with the engagement in Southeast Asia with Afghanistan, but also as it relates to the whole war on terror. This was a big shift. One of the most significant aspects of this was that the president, without any real hesitation whatsoever, said, look, we're out of the nation-building business. We are now in the focusing on the terrorism-killing business, kill the terrorists, not nation-building. So I think, Jordan, I look at that and I say that is a significant shift as to where the country had been. There's a number, we've got a lot to cover, but that was a big one.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge change from both the Bush and Obama administrations. The Bush administration obviously was attempting to nation build in countries that just weren't having it and have not been very successful. Unfortunately, it would be nice if you could convert places like Afghanistan and Iraq into peaceful democracies, but that has not been the experience in recent history, because this is not like dealing with post-war Western Europe, which was kind of like the Marshall Plan idea. It just has not worked. So instead, the idea here is not to go in and take over Afghanistan. It's not even to go in and try and change the values of the Afghan people. It is to go and do one thing: kill terrorists, whether they be ISIS terrorists, Al-Qaeda terrorists. I mentioned yesterday on the broadcast Osama bin Laden's son, who is now aged and is kind of taken over the leadership of Al-Qaeda and tried to re-inspire that group, which is more interested in the larger terror attacks, and of course the pressure on Pakistan as well in this speech.
Yeah, I'm going to point out the pressure on Pakistan because remember, for literally 9 years, Osama bin Laden, or at least 6 of those years, was living in Pakistan in the shadows of a military base, and they let him live there. And this is supposed to be an ally of the United States. So listen to what the president said. This is number 31.
The next pillar of our new strategy is to change the approach and how to deal with Pakistan. We can no longer be silent about Pakistan's safe havens for terrorist organizations, the Taliban, and other groups that pose a threat to the region and beyond.
So the approach on Pakistan is very different than what it had been in the past. We're going to get into the, by the way, rules of engagement have changed. The nature of the real-time decisions not being made by lawyers. We're going to get our lawyers to talk about that. But when we're going to go through in the next segment kind of the analysis. We want your reaction to all of this, your reaction to the president's speech and your reaction to this shift in strategy. And also going back into Afghanistan. There may be some concern on that as well. 1-800-684-3110, 800-684-3110. Was interesting, Logan. I thought in the beginning of the speech, the president was upfront about the fact that he has changed his position on this and based it on real data he got from his military officials.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoyed the speech. The fact that he's willing to even say, it's different when you're behind the desk, when you're behind the Oval Office, things change. And being able to actually go out and say that, I think, is a interesting point that a lot of presidents and a lot of politicians would never say. I'd go out and say, look, things are going to be altered based on the information that you know.
All right, so we are going to take your calls when we come back from the break. We're going to be joined by our military experts, Colonel Skip Ash and Colonel Wes Smith. They're going to talk about these issues. They've served, Wes has served in the Middle East region. Skip has studied it extensively, in both in the Pentagon and out. Stand with our men and women that are defending our freedoms. You could do that by signing a petition up at aclj.org. Stand with our military. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. That's 877-989-2255 or aclj.org to take a stand with the military.
The Islamic State, ISIS, wants to destroy America and eradicate Christianity. Jihadists pledging allegiance to ISIS and radical Islam have attacked America, slaughtering dozens of Americans in multiple terrorist attacks. ISIS is at war with us. We must wage war against ISIS. At the ACLJ, we've developed a critical 5-point strategy to defeat and destroy this jihadist enemy. We have 5 key steps to defeat ISIS. 1. Name the enemy, Islamic jihadists. 2. Fix our broken intelligence. 3. Ramp up undercover stings to smoke out jihadists at home. 4. Declare war on ISIS. And 5. Unleash full U.S. military might to utterly destroy ISIS. Stand with us. Add your name to our new petition right now. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255. Or add your name online, aclj.org.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast. Big shift in strategy on the situation with Afghanistan. Going back in, and this is an interesting dynamic. I've got Colonel Wes Smith here with us in our media center, and joining us from our campus at Regent University is Colonel, these are both retired, but you always want to say that, Colonel Skip Ash. Hey, Skip, let me start with you on this. The nature of the speech, the tone, but also the specifics here about this is a significant shift in strategy.
I think it definitely is. The Obama administration got to the point they didn't want to lose, but they didn't want to put out the effort to win. So they committed only what it would take not to lose, and therefore it just drones on and on and on, and we take casualties here and there, but we never accomplish anything, and the enemy comes back. Here we have a shift in strategy. The president has said, okay, we're going to go in, we're going to send more troops, we're going to go in to win, we're going to have rules of engagement that make sense in a combat situation, and we're going to give the experts in the area, the commanders on the ground, the opportunity to make those decisions, because those decisions have to be made in a timely manner. You can't come back to Washington, D.C. and have a process where you go through staffing everything. The military knows how to do its job. You need to give them the authority to do it, and I think we're going to see changes quickly.
Wes, what do you view as the most significant aspect? Now, you said something that's pretty sobering, too, and that was you served as the chief chaplain in Dover,
right?
Which is where the killed in action came back. So
right.
When you talk about 4,000 or 6,000 or whatever the number is, and also engaging the enemy,
right,
you're going to have casualties.
Yeah, we're not only changing the numbers, but we're changing the mission of our troops to go out and find and kill terrorists. And this is just one of the realities. Combat operations are dangerous. And it is regrettable, but in order to accomplish this mission, which I think is necessary, and I'm glad that President Trump is trusting his generals, more soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines will be put in harm's way. And yes, those who are killed in action and wounded in action, we can count on those numbers going up somewhat. But this is a seismic change in our strategy there, Jay. Yep. I remember back when President Obama was the president and Stanley McChrystal had given him a request for how to win in Afghanistan. Yep. Of course, General Mattis says we're not winning now. He asked for a certain amount of troops. Not only did President Obama give him 25% less than the minimum number that General McChrystal asked for, 25% less than the minimum, then 2 days later at West Point, the president went out and announced the date certain that we would actually withdraw from the country.
So this is the president's taking the exact opposite approach of President Obama, and for that matter, President Bush. Listen to this one, number 27.
We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, not arbitrary timetables, will guide our strategy from now on. America's enemies must never know our plans or believe they can wait us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will.
So the media criticism today has all been the president won't tell us his plan.
Yeah, I mean, that is the focus is they want to have
open with that. They couldn't believe he won't give us details.
Well, they were trying to break numbers. I remember seeing it on my phone. 4,000 was a number I saw, and he never referenced that. I mean, so there was no, again, specific more than just outside sourcing and leaking there. We have no idea if that number is correct or not. We don't have a timeline. We don't get a start time or an end time. And President Obama loved giving those. He loved saying exactly how many numbers of troops. But there's no requirement to do that publicly to tell the American people. I mean, especially when you are talking about, in this instance, I think we all understand, a targeted approach, not a large-scale war. Yes, there will be more American casualties. We know that. So he's made that serious decision in speaking with his generals. But I think when you hear from people like General Mattis in their written statements following this, how excited they are to finally have, in a sense, the chains taken off, the gloves come off, they get to be the commanders on the battlefield, not Barack Obama anymore and his advisors, who were not very good commanders.
No,
well, the White House micromanaged them. They really did.
Well, he said that. He talked about that they're not going to micromanage from Washington, D.C. I mean, he was very clear about the fact that is not going to happen. It's also, interestingly, you said this, he was on the issue of announcing before and giving a date before. The president said that is not a smart strategy. As regarding the micromanagement, here's what he said, number 36.
Micromanagement from Washington, D.C. does not win battles. They're won in the field, drawing upon the judgment and expertise of wartime commanders and frontline soldiers, acting in real time with real authority and with a clear mission to defeat the enemy.
All right, so, I mean, you couldn't have been any clearer than that. And that, again, is very different than the last two presidents' approach, frankly. Let's go ahead and take a call.
Let's go to James in Denver, Colorado on line 1. James, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hi, James.
I'm really excited. To be honest with you, I see a clear leadership that is not following the definition of insanity by doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I support the president. This is amazing.
Well, here's what this was another thing.
Maybe that's why the media is not covering it.
Yes.
It's because this, when it comes to the real issues, not fake issues, not monuments and statues that have been around that, by the way, weren't an issue for 8 years under the Obama presidency. The same statues had been there. It's not those issues. It's issues like war, and they don't like to cover it when there's been a real strategy change. I also think the media doesn't like when he's unleashing our military. I think the mainstream media does not like when the military of America is unleashed to do their job.
Well, here's what, I mean, if you want to define what the president said, I'm going to get Skip's comment on this in a moment here, and let's get some comments coming in on Facebook and Periscope too. But play number 30. This is, I mean, you can't be, it's short, but here it is.
We are not nation building again. We are killing terrorists.
Well, there you go. That's a Trump doctrine. Skip, your reaction to that.
I think that's long overdue. You know, President Bush went in and said we're going to create democracies in the Middle East. That was so naive. It was followed on by Obama, who continued to be naive and trying to create these societies that would reflect American values. They come from different backgrounds, different traditions, different religions. What we need to do is to watch out for U.S. interests. We would like to have stable governments, but these governments have to reflect the people of their countries, and the president has got it exactly right. Let's focus on the important things, and let's let the local people do what needs to be done in nation building.
Yeah. So here's what I think. I think that the president made a seismic shift, and we're getting into that in great detail. The media is completely ignoring this. Now, Wes, you've been in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. You know it is, and Skip currently goes there a lot and is on boards of universities that do counterintelligence. But this is a real shift in strategy here. Mm-hmm. We haven't even gotten into, and we'll do this in the next segment, military commanders really being unleashed to do their job here.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things the president said last night is that going forward, principled realism will be the guide to our strategy. Principled realism. In other words, American principles, and then realistic about what we can and cannot do, what we should and should not do. And the purpose of the military is really not to do nation building. I mean, we can keep the peace, but the real purpose of the military and the reason they train the way they do and have the equipment that they do is they are trained to fight and win wars. And what the president is doing, he trusts his generals, and frankly, I do as well, to let them go forward. And the end state the president has asked for is to defeat terrorists in Afghanistan and in the regions, the border regions of Pakistan. That is the end state. And then the president, like a good commander-in-chief, says to his commanders, this is what I want. You figure out how to do it.
Can we grab a call here? Quick one?
You can get a quick call. Let's go to Nina, who's calling in Chandler, Texas on line 4.
Hi, Nina.
so grateful that you are all standing up for justice and truth. And I have to tell you that for a president that is not someone that is a well-seasoned politician, he is surrounding himself by the same people. And I applaud that he is not telegraphing what we intend to do about these terrorists. I mean, basically, yeah, we're going to kill them, but, you know, it's just refreshing that somebody is finally putting the United States first. And that's my comment.
Yeah, well, listen, I think this was a great strategy shift, Jordan. It's driving the media crazy, but I think this was the right thing to do, not telegraph exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah. The one thing he telegraphed was that Pakistan, you better watch out. Because if you don't stop harboring 20 U.S.-recognized terrorist organizations, I mean, we can play this sound when we come back. In fact, this is quick sound. This is just talking about Pakistan. Very quickly, President Trump, Bite 33.
Pakistan has also sheltered the same organizations that try every single day to kill our people. We have been paying Pakistan billions and billions of dollars. At the same time, they are housing the very terrorists that we are fighting. But that will have to change, and that will change immediately.
I mean, that is a really strong, and it's absolutely correct. And we've been it's like the United States has been afraid to say it. I mean, it's like, oh, we can't say it, they're an ally. They were an ally that was harboring bin Laden. We've got a lot more ahead with our experts. You're going to want to stay tuned. Again, don't forget, stand with our military. You could do that at aclj.org by signing that petition, aclj.org, or 1-877-989-2255. That's 877-989-2255 or aclj.org.
The Islamic State, ISIS, wants to destroy America and eradicate Christianity. Jihadists pledging allegiance to ISIS and radical Islam have attacked America, slaughtering dozens of Americans in multiple terrorist attacks. ISIS is at war with us. We must wage war against ISIS. At the ACLJ, we've developed a critical 5-point strategy to defeat and destroy this jihadist enemy. We have 5 key steps to defeat ISIS. 1. Name the enemy, Islamic jihadists. 2. Fix our broken intelligence. 3. Ramp up undercover stings to smoke out jihadists at home. 4. Declare war on ISIS. And 5. Unleash full U.S. military might to utterly destroy ISIS. Stand with us. Add your name to our new petition right now. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online, aclj.org.
Talking about the change in strategy in Afghanistan. I think it's even broader than that. I think it's a change in strategy militarily. Logan, what are we seeing on Facebook and Periscope? Our phone lines are jammed.
Yeah, a lot of comments in. This person, James, just said, thanks, Jay and ACLJ, for putting much needed shift in the U.S. policy towards terrorism, analyzing it. Appreciate that. A lot of people are asking about the media. Charlotte said, I'll never understand why the media would expect to know about military movement. It causes one to lose elements of surprise.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jordan's been addressing that. I mean, this
is because the past administration loved giving troop numbers. They loved announcing timelines, withdrawals. The Bush administration to some extent too, though those were much more large-scale military operations. I mean, with President Obama, if they were sending 500 people in, they tell you, we're sending in 500 people, or we're sending 50 special operators into Syria.
Why would you tell them
and where they're going? He would announce where they were going.
Because they know that's what the media wants, and then the media will report them in a positive light, their decision in a positive light. If you keep the media in the dark, they give this bizarre coverage. And if you actually look at most of the headlines, it's, oh, Trump switches his opinion on Afghanistan or bows down to his generals. The generals bow down to him. He's the president of the United States. He tells them what to do, when to do. And if their strategy ends up not working that they've convinced him to start with, those generals will be fired.
Yeah,
and I don't think
the president's accountable for it.
He is the one that they bow down to. They don't bow. He does not bow down to generals. He is the elected commander-in-chief.
Yeah. Let me play this one, and I want to get Skip's comment. This is number 40.
Our troops will fight to win. We will fight to win. From now on, victory will have a clear definition: attacking our enemies, obliterating ISIS, crushing al-Qaeda, preventing the Taliban from taking over Afghanistan, and stopping mass terror attacks against America before they emerge.
Okay, so, Skip, that is a big, bold statement, and it seems very different from what we've been hearing.
That's exactly right. One of the things that the military always needs is a clear statement of what they're expected to do. Once you tell them what the mission is, they know how to organize it, they know how to execute it, they know how to finish it and achieve the victory, provided that we provide them the equipment and the material that they ask for and tell the president that we need to accomplish that. Once that is done, let them go. They will accomplish the mission.
All right, let's go ahead and take a phone call, 800-684-3110. We always like to keep it interactive. Who's next?
Let's go to Bob in California, line 2. Bob, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bob.
This will bring back patriotism, because when they put us into wars, we can't win because they tie our hands. It's about time. You know, I feel the patriotism just hearing this.
Well, here's what you've got. This is number 37, and it sets forth, I think, you talk about a clear statement. This is a clear statement. Listen to 37.
We will also expand authority for American armed forces to target the terrorist and criminal networks that sow violence and chaos throughout Afghanistan. These killers need to know they have nowhere to hide, that no place is beyond the reach of American might and American arms. Retribution will be fast and powerful.
So the president calls it, he's going to take retribution. There's no place for them to hide, and that's because they were hiding right there with our ally Pakistan.
Right there, and also in plain sight in Afghanistan, Jay.
Yep.
The rules of engagement under the previous administration and up until recently really cost American lives. I can remember so many times when I was serving at Dover Air Force Base for those 3 years that as soldiers would bring their buddies back on airplanes in transfer cases who'd been killed in battle, and they would tell me horror stories of how they could not fight back, that they were fighting with one hand tied behind them, that Washington was actually selecting targets, that if they saw someone shooting at them and the person went in a house and came back out without their AK-47, they were not allowed to fire on that person. On and on and on. These crazy rules of engagement cost American lives. And what the president is doing, he is letting the commanders and the commanders on the ground, they determine what's realistic, and they're going to try and avoid civilian casualties, to be sure, but they're making the rules of engagement such that we actually can kill the enemy and protect American lives.
Let's go to Judith, who's calling. She's been on hold for a while. Judith's calling in Oregon on line 6. You're on the air.
Hi, Judith. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
I remember the time when in the Korean War, when our boys were not allowed to follow their enemy and kill them, get rid of them. And I so applaud President Trump. I know that he had a lot of people fighting against him when he first came into office, but he's making positive moves one after another, and I applaud the man.
Well, let me play this one for you, and I want everybody to comment. Number 34.
No partnership can survive a country's harboring of militants and terrorists who target U.S. service members and officials. It is time for Pakistan to demonstrate its commitment to civilization, order, and to peace.
So they are now Pakistan is a nuclear power, and they are supposed to be an ally of the United States.
Yeah, and they're quasi-ally. I mean, they will sometimes crack down when necessary. They both India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons pointed at each other, so it's kind of a bit of this Cold War-ish standoff. They do fight, though, in the disputed Kashmir region. And I don't know if we pulled the sound, but I'm sure this also made the Pakistanis upset. The president referenced specifically a renewed military relationship with India.
Yeah.
So he's kind of told the Pakistanis two things. One, you better knock it off and start, or we're going to treat you like Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of indicated we could quickly start treating you like Afghanistan. this is not a government or military that is, yes, they have the nuclear weapons, but we have potential to, again, it's not a stable government, if you will, and it is a terror hotbed. And then number two, by saying, hey, we're also going to up our relationship with India, which we already have, I'd say, a much better relationship with in Pakistan. That's a clear sign, not just on economics, but on military as well.
Yeah,
the Pakistanis can't stand that.
Yeah, so how big of a deal do you think that was? Well, I'm going to go to Wes and skip.
I think it was a shrewd political move to sort of, and not in a hostile way, but to pit the two nations against one another in order to get Pakistan to change their behavior. And as we said a moment ago when we were not on the air, Jay, I think while it was not stated by the president, what is implied here is that if Pakistan continues to harbor terrorist groups across the border, they come across and they kill Americans and they go across the border, that we will follow them and we will kill them in the border region of Pakistan. Not stated, but I think that's what's implied.
Skip, how big of a shift do you view this as?
I think it's very significant. The thing is, the border region of Pakistan is like the Wild West. I mean, they can't control it either, and those forces have been killing Pakistanis and have been killing Pakistani soldiers and police. So it seems to me to be in the interest of Pakistan to ally with us and say, okay, we will cooperate and drive them out because it's good for both sides.
Well, that's going to do it for the broadcast today. I could not end this broadcast without asking you doing a couple specific actions. Number one, pray for our men and women that are defending our freedom in the military, whether they're serving domestically here in the United States or around the globe. Pray for them. Number two, sign that petition. We want to let the Department of Defense and the military men and women that serve our great country know that we're defending them and praying for them and supporting them. You can do that at aclj.org, aclj.org, or 1-877-989-2255. You can sign that petition at 877-989-2255 or aclj.org. We'll talk to you next week.
The Islamic State, ISIS, wants to destroy America and eradicate Christianity. Jihadists pledging allegiance to ISIS and radical Islam have attacked America, slaughtering dozens of Americans in multiple terrorist attacks. ISIS is at war with us. We must wage war against ISIS. At the ACLJ, we've developed a critical 5-point strategy to defeat and destroy this jihadist enemy. We have 5 key steps to defeat ISIS. 1. Name the enemy, Islamic jihadists. 2. Fix our broken intelligence. 3. Ramp up undercover stings to smoke out jihadists at home. 4. Declare war on ISIS. And 5. Unleash full U.S. military might to utterly destroy ISIS. Stand with us. Add your name to our new petition right now. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online, aclj.org.